Discretion is advised.
What's going on, everybody? Jibba73 back with the Double E Show. Today, October 6th, 2015, the official release of Prison Architect. So I've been playing the alpha for like 2 years now. It's been in alpha for 3 years. And they finally released the version 1 with a 5-stage tutorial mode, escape mode, where you can go into your own prison or download prisons from the workshop and try to escape those. A lot of new features that they've added to the polished game. A lot of Steam achievements that you can garner. Little special trinkets throughout the game. Like they've always sort of had the Polaroid thing that they were hearkening to about, you know, these are little Easter eggs within the game. You'd find these little Polaroids of different prison scenes and such. But now they've added like Bible pages or book pages and stuff. So, hey, you know what? Let's get into it and take a look. All right, let's give it a shot. Launch it now, and let's see what they have to offer. So it is available right now on Steam for $19.99 US, which is a pretty excellent price.
First of all,
Here we go.
turn off intake.
We're going to go through the tutorial real quick here, or the campaign, 1 of 5, and we'll just take a quick look at what these campaigns hold for us. So yeah, let's get into it. Death Row. We've been contracted to build an execution chamber for this prison in time for the scheduled execution of one of their inmates. Now, for those of you, I'm assuming this is similar to what's been included with the alpha the whole time. For those of you who've played the alpha for any length of time, at one point when you first got the game, it took you through this, and this was to teach you the basic building blocks of building a prison, or how to at least construct buildings within the prison. Prison Architect. Oh, CEO is calling. This is a tough one. There's a prisoner incarcerated at this facility who's been convicted of a double murder and sentenced to death. That's where we come in. We've been contracted to construct an execution chamber in time for the guy's big day. This is where I want the new facility to be built. The first step with any project like this is to construct the building itself, with enough space inside to fit an execution room and a holding cell. So let's get started. Construct a new building here. We will also need an entrance to the new execution facility. Build a large jail door into the south wall. Now I'm assuming, yeah, it gives you the diagram where it's at, but north is always up. Okay, so we're going to go foundations. We're going to build in brick, because that was the traditional building material. You drag it in to fit, but if you notice, as you drag, it shows the different meter sizes. Certain rooms within the game have different size requirements. Hold on, let me get the door on there first, jacknut. Okay. Your workmen are responsible for the construction of buildings. They'll collect the steel and concrete from this storeroom and take it to the construction site. they'll use raw materials to build the foundations and framework of your new building. This is the slowest part of construction, so you should plan ahead when building new facilities. While we wait, take a look around using the WASD or the arrow keys to move around, and use the mouse wheel to zoom in and out. Zoom out, zoom in, zoom out, zoom in. Keys. So just to give you an idea, there's a cell block, kitchen, showers. There's a cafeteria area. Where is it? Well, here's the cafeteria right here. There's a power station. There is no water pump that I can see, but that's cool. All right, inside the building I want to sell and an execution room. Partition the space by constructing some brick walls. I'm going to go in and zoom over. Bling, bling, bling. Okay, materials, brick wall. Click, and click, click, and click. So basically what you're responsible for when you're building the prison is your deliveries, garbage goes out, deliveries come in, your prisoners get dropped off in the delivery area, your guards will bring them into the prison. In the new prisons, the latest alpha updates, right before the version 1 release, there's actually a reception room they have to go through where they're strip searched and given new prison uniforms. and then they're brought to a cell. If you don't have a full functioning cell for them to go right to, they'll go to a holding cell, which is a large chambered area with certain furniture requirements, where they'll be kept until a cell is ready. You have to build administration buildings, areas for your guards to hang out and rest, and your workers to hang out and rest. It's really, really cool. Now add large jail doors to those dividing walls. You can rotate an object before placement by clicking the middle mouse button or press R. Okay, so going back over here. I don't know why he wants large jail doors, man. He likes to spend the money. It's that one. And if I... Okay, so, yeah. I'll do it that way. Sure, why not? We're good. We're good. We're good. We're going to speed it up a little bit so they get that part done faster. And as far as I know... workmen can't open these kind of doors on their own. They have to have a guard do it. That's looking good. Now we need to designate rooms within those spaces. Designate a cell in the smaller area where our condemned inmate will live. Then designate the execution room itself in the larger area. Okay, we go to rooms. We go to cell. And again, just like building, you click and drag in the interior portion of it. Then you go execution. And boom! Because if you go to the wall, then it's not considered surrounded by walls. These new rooms have requirements before they become functional. The cell needs a bed and a toilet. That's minimum. The execution room requires the electric chair. And actually the new execution room also requires viewing chairs for the victims' families or the condemned person's family. Rotating the toilet. I'll put his head away from the toilet. And here, electric chair. Boom. And we go back to full speed. So this was the original tutorial. They have not touched this. This is exactly the same as far as I am able to surmise. It looks exactly the same as it always has. There you go. It's all done. Another call. Boom. That's the essential taken care of, but there are still a few improvements you could make. It's up to you, though. These aren't strictly required. It depends how much you care about your prisoners and their environment. The cell itself could be improved with an outward-facing window and a small bookshelf. And the facility would look better with a higher quality floor material, like wooden floorboards or mosaic tiles. Outside, you could add some lighting and a paved pathway if you think it needs it. This is the man in question. Edward Romsey. A teacher once, would you believe? It's not our place to decide if he deserves this. The law has made that decision. We're just here to do a job. Once you are satisfied the facility is ready, you can begin the prisoner transfer to his new cell. Simply click on the Polaroid in his cell to initiate the transfer. Okay, so they're giving me the option to dress it up or move on. We are moving on. Chief of Police, or Chief of Security, excuse me. So these are the Polaroids that I quickly mentioned at the beginning. These are what you will collect randomly throughout the game. Don't shed one tear for this guy. He's a stone-cold killer, guilty as charged. He even confessed. Want to hear his description of what he did? It's juicy stuff. It was around 11 p.m. The lights were already on. I knew she was home. I like how they made the houses out of prison materials. Uh-oh. Racy stuff, kids. I knew I'd catch you two here. Edward, Don't. Just don't. What are you going to do? Like my voice acting? Wow. Wow. Yeah, so that just happened. Clear as day, if you ask me. Deserves every volt he's gonna get. All men deserve forgiveness, even him. Are you sure in yourself that you can deal out such final judgment? Catching your wife with another man is no excuse for what he did. And he went there with a loaded gun, knowing he'd find them together. That's double premeditated murder. He's done nothing but cooperate with the authorities. This state is making an example of him. If he'd committed his crime 100 miles north, he'd be looking at life imprisonment instead. How is that justice? Do you want a guy like this running free? I'll sleep just fine at night when I know he's gone. And it's the slow, steady walk. Good work so far. However, there is one problem. The execution room isn't functioning yet because it doesn't have any power. We need to connect it to the electrical supply. So to give you a brief layout here, these green lines are the power grid. So anything that requires power will flash with these little yellow lightning bolts to let you know that you need power. We are now viewing the prison in utilities mode, which shows us electrical wiring layout for the entire prison. I just said that. Each building in the prison is connected to the power grid by these thick underground electrical cables. I just said that. And there's the power station. Power is provided to the prison by this substation, which draws electricity from the national grid. As you can see, this entire wing of prison cells is without power. All of the lights are out. I just said that. To fix this problem, we first need to switch into utilities mode to understand why the lights are without power. Well, because the cable doesn't run there. The nearest electrical cables are too far away. Our engineers can't complete the wiring for this area. Extend the electrical cables nearby to cover this wing of the prison. Now, I'll go into the mode. These don't have to connect to every light itself. If you put it in the vicinity, if you see here, it'll reach out a certain distance to get as close as it can to the lights. But there's a limit to its reach. So I go to electrical cable, bring this like this, and then we bring it down like that, and it should actually reach into there as well. So, yeah. Okay. So, we'll speed it up to max speed, get our workers over here, and they will start laying electrical cable. Oh, they went that way. Okay. And that way. Okay, there you go. Now, as you watch, as they make the connection over to here, which was the first one I laid, so of course it's nearest the last that they'll do. Boom! Power reaches, and if you go back to the grid, you'll see all the way over to there. Okay. So now, lights aren't the only thing that needs power. Your new electric chair does too. Use the power cables to connect the execution facility to the power grid. The electric chair itself is a special type of electrical item. It requires its own dedicated power line. You'll need to connect it up directly with main cables. Okay, so you see how there's a cable that comes out of this. Anytime you place an item in game that requires its own dedicated power, like metal detectors, there'll be a little sprung that'll come off of it that the power cable has to connect with. So if I go like this, and then I go like this, I've now connected it to the mains. And then if I bring this down to here, the power cable should power the cell and that room. So boom, max speed. Let's get them working on it. Here they come. I love it. They animate the little spools. So there's little spools of cable, and they can only get so much from each spool worth of cable, but they'll continue working until it's done. And we'll know when it's connected because this will all light up. And bam! Look at that. It's all lit up. Now if I go back to utilities, you can see everything reaches. Okay, here we go. We are almost done, I think. We should test the new execution room at least once before we try to use it, though. I'm just going to turn it on for a few seconds, make sure everything is okay. Of course you would, you jacknut. And boom! The whole prison is blacked out. Well, that didn't work. Looks like we drew too much power and tripped a circuit breaker in the power station. The whole prison is dark. We're going to need more juice to be able to handle the power spike that the electric chair generates. So, these are the capacitors. There's a total of 4, 8, 12, 16 that you can put around it, I believe. First, we need to get the power back on. This is a two-step process. Switch the power station back on by clicking on it and selecting switch on in the menu that appears. Then build 3 more capacitors so we have enough power capacity to handle the electric chair. Once you've done that, test the electric chair again by clicking on it and selecting switch on in the menu. Okay, so first things first, we go, you know what, we go to utilities. I'm going to put the capacitors down first, and there we go. And then I'm going to click on the power station and switch on. And it'll switch on now because we're not running the electric chair. But once they put in these capacitors, you'll see the level of power that it adds by how much the red bar is reduced. When you've reached full capacity, this red bar will be right up to here, and it'll actually be flashing, showing you that you're actually getting ready to max out. So let's go over to the execution room, click on the chair, switch on. Bam, we're good. Okay. Well done. I believe we are finished with this job. What happens now is out of our hands. We did a professional job, and that's important in our business. Try not to worry about what happens next, which is this. Can I help you? for forgiveness? I don't know. I have to do something. I can't live with the things I've done. You have to turn yourself in. Whatever you've done, you cannot evade the consequences. You will never be able to live with yourself until you face up to your past. I want to go back. I want to forgive her. I want her to forgive me. God will forgive you, no matter what you have done, if you ask him to. But you must answer for your crimes in the eyes of the law. There is no other way. Way to play right into the theme. It is time, Edward. You have done the right thing, even though this world will not forgive you for it. You will be with God soon, and he will have the final judgment on you. And now the guards come in to take him away. Now, I will say, for those of you who are watching this for the first time and you're thinking about executing somebody in a game, they've, as much as possible for a video game, respectfully done the process. It is not to be taken lightly. Edward Romsey, you have been found guilty of 2 counts of murder in the 1st degree. The penalty is death. Do you have anything to say? Susan, I'm sorry. This is actually different. Okay, stop. Can I save? I can't. Alright, campaign 1. Save. Go back out and exit. Okay, and the reason why I'm doing that is because we're not going to look at it all today. Here's what we're going to do. We are going to, in 5 parts, take a look at the 5 different pieces of the campaign mode, and we'll take a look at each of them individually, because let me explain why. I myself have not seen 2, 3, 4, and 5. I played the tutorial campaign, which was building the execution chamber, and watched that story progress there, so I've seen that half-dozen times, just you know, for refresher standpoints. When I'm taking time away from the game, I go back, oh yeah, that's right, I need to do that. But I've never seen 2 through 5, and we're going to look at it fresh together. So I'm going to do this every single Tuesday and Thursday. So if you check back on Tuesday and you check back on Thursday, you're going to get a new Prison Architect video. And we'll do that for the 5 campaign levels and the 17 other levels. And there you go. And we'll go from there. But hey, thanks for watching. I'm Jibba73. This is the Double E Show. I really hope you enjoyed yourself. Like, subscribe, and share.
That was a failure of epic proportions.